Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Let Her Cook live stream brought to you by BSCN. I am Jackie Dutton, your hostess with the mostest. And today we are going to be diving into some prediction markets. This is a quick and dirty 30 minutes as usual, and some current events, some general overview, and we're just going to get right into it. As always, nothing I say is financial advice. Please do your own research. If you have to use some of these platforms with a VPN, I am not endorsing doing anything you are not supposed to be doing. This is just a general yap about some current events, some goings on, and some predictive markets that you might be interested in. So let's get started today. We are going to go ahead and head over to Polymarket. If you have not registered for an account on Polymarket, we also have an affiliate link that we will also include on all of the posts and then the cut down clips so that you too can go ahead and sign up and partake in these predictive markets. Just as a full total disclaimer, we are an affiliate, which means that we get a small portion if you sign up and then deposit more than $20, I think. Again, not an endorsement or a recommendation. We're just an affiliate. And if you would like to get started, you can do so with our link, and it just kind of helps support the channel. So let's go ahead and take a look at some general topics. If you have been on Twitter, you have probably seen the chatter about the daycare fraud that is happening in Minnesota. If you are just watching the mainstream media, you have probably heard crickets. This was actually blown up by a YouTuber or just an independent journalist. His name is Nick. It's something silly. It's like it starts with an S. Anyway, he went around and looked at a bunch of different daycares in Minnesota, specifically ones that had accepted funds within they got free like federal aid essentially. And there is a clip, if you go back, where Tim Walz actually in his debate against JD Vance was proudly boasting that they had given a bunch of money to these daycares run by immigrants specifically. So there's a lot of Somalian population within the state of Minnesota. So he talked about how they were more of a family-friendly state. And this was kind of the argument about women's rights to termination and other issues, and just kind of the general American feeling about growing a family. And JD Vance had kind of a different stance on this, but Tim Walz was talking about how Minnesota's just done the greatest shit ever by giving money to daycares so that people are able to afford daycare. Well, it turns out that a lot of these daycares were accepting a ton of money. I mean, millions of dollars. And then a lot of this money was funding Democrat candidates with this free money. So it was just kind of a nice funneling design job where they then received federal funding, cycled it through these particular daycares, and then immediately sent to a political campaign. This is not looking good for anybody, which is why there are a bunch of Polymarket bets now surrounding this particular topic. So will anyone be charged over the daycare fraud in Minnesota by, and this is by a particular day, or I think this is actually just a yes or no. But specifically the bet ends on January 31st. So you have just a little over a month to see if they're going to actually start charging and arresting anybody. According to Kash Patel, I saw his post earlier today where he said that they have actually been aware of this, and consequently they've been looking into this for a while. And he says the FBI is aware of recent social media reports in Minnesota even before the public conversation escalated online, the FBI had surged personnel and investigative resources to Minnesota to dismantle large-scale fraud schemes exploiting federal programs. In my opinion, this is a bizarre way to say like, "Oh yeah, we totally know. We've been on this for a minute." But okay, whatever. So the FBI, it looks like, are taking steps to go ahead and take care of this. It says the case has led to 78 indictments and 57 convictions, and defendants included, and he names several that I cannot pronounce. So I do think that actually because of the public scrutiny, because the public is actually kind of trying to get, things done with their noise level on the internet. I saw that this story was actually on Fox News, which isn't a surprise, but it wasn't on any of the other mainstream media, voice boxes. So we'll see if we can get there and if they start charging somebody. But this well is deep of fraud. This is going to go on for a long time because if we start talking about how this money was illegally given, because apparently these are businesses that don't even exist. These are just shell buildings essentially with a sign. There was one that was a daycare sign and it said it was it was supposed to be the learning center, and the R or the L, it was the N of learning was left out. So it was just the Leering Center. You're a learning center and you left a whole fucking letter out of your business name? Really? That's interesting. And apparently they too had received millions of dollars in aid. So if we start talking about the trickle down effect here of the fact that money went from the federal government to aid these companies that actually don't exist, so that's fraud. And then that money quickly cycled into somebody's political campaign that made sure that this gravy train kept rolling. I think we want to see heads. We want to see more than just, oh yeah, let's charge somebody with money laundering. It's more than that. It's a lot more than that. Okay. I remember when the conversation about SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and FTX was happening and how he had used a ton of money to fund largely Democratic campaigns. Well, then FTX went, belly up, and all of this money that belonged to other people was completely wiped out. But where is the accountability in that situation for the fact that he used other people's money to donate to political campaigns? And in a lot of cases, they were elected. So were these politicians elected with stolen funds? And how do you how do you unravel that sweater? So I just think that there's a much bigger conversation about this, and really the trickle down effect of kind of, it's not a 1 to 2 situation here. We have like multiple numbers that come after this. And I just think somebody needs to be charged. My hope is that it's a yes, but currently as it stands, there is only a 39% chance, according to the popular market of Polymarket, that this happens before the end of January. So there's also several bets here on Polymarket related to this. Will Minnesota politician, this just any Minnesota politician, be charged with fraud? There's specifically, will Tim Walz be charged? When will he be charged by? There's a bet for the end of March and then one before the end of December. I also can't help but notice how interesting it is that this went on and Tim Walz specifically was picked to be Kamala's running mate. That's also interesting. But there are a bunch of other reports coming out that this is happening in Ohio. This is happening in a bunch of other states. So it's not just Minnesota. I think we're just now shining a light on a bunch of other stuff. I saw another report that somebody said they had there was also some kind of like emergency transportation business that's also a front for all kinds of shit like this. I just feel like this, this is why we can't have nice things. This is also why when you ask to increase tax dollars for some kind of bleeding heart cause, No one believes you. Most taxpayers don't believe that the money's going to end up where it's supposed to. Look at California. That is the richest state in the country, and they didn't have any fucking water a year ago for the reservoirs in the Pacific Palisades to stop the whole neighborhood from burning down. We don't believe you anymore, right? Like if you feel so strongly about a cause, donate your money. But when you have a politician get involved, the second they do that, it's just fucked. So anyway, let's just move on because I'm gonna get pissed. But here are your Polymarket bets generally about this. Um, Tim Waltz being charged, and will anyone be charged of the daycare fraud in Minnesota? And God, I hope it's yes. Let's go to something that we have been noticing over the last week, I would say, and that is the silver market. So, silver has been all over the place. If you want to take a look at this chart, I mean, that is quite a chart. We saw, I think, over Christmas and over this last weekend, it just went up, 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 up. And then finally, what goes up must come down typically in a market. So a correction is normal. But whatever this is, they have now linked this to actually a major bank blowing up its silver futures position at 2 a.m. because they missed a margin call. So this was a $34 billion emergency Fed injection forced liquidation algorithm that was triggered. And then this says when a whale this big gets taken out, the market dumps everything to cover the hole. That's why we saw the 10% wipeout. So if this is true, that there was because it's saying that this is a large US bank, a systemically important bank. Okay, so this would need to be, I don't know, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. This would need to be one of those. But in the event that they actually had this $34 billion blunder, this leads me to my next predictive market of will a US bank fail within, this is this year. This is within the next 2 days. We all know 2008 happened. They're going to keep kicking this can as far down the road as they possibly can. But are they going to finally talk about how it was a particular bank that did this? Let's see. This reports are that whoever the name is of this bank, whoever it is, the Federal Reserve was forced to pump another $34 billion into the banking system through its emergency overnight repo facility. The fact that we even do this is bananas. This is on top of the $17 billion, which had to be pumped in 2 days ago on Friday morning. Supposedly, they blew past every risk limit, breached every covenant, and exhausted every line of credit. What in the GameStop is going on in the silver market? First of all, I think anybody who plays the precious metals market is aware that, from what I have heard, the silver market is one of the more highly manipulated markets. It's much harder to manipulate something like gold, because it's just so much bigger. But there's something about the silver market that is like very easily you're able to mess with it, and there are a lot of people that do. Obviously, again, when you see damn near Heiken Ashi candles of just like green, 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 up, 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 there will be a correction. But usually the correction is something a little more less shitcoin candle. You know what I mean? This is a shitcoin candle. This is not normal. And then all the way back down, I don't know, guys. You know what? I hope whoever had their longs and shorts placed, peace be with you, my friend. I really hope that you made it. But this is obviously not good. And this is obviously even worse if it does involve a major, major bank. So, but the good news is we live in America, so they'll just bail them out. Don't worry. That happens. So the odds of this particular market here, let me see. I must not be looking at the same one. So there are several on Polymarket, but this one is before the end of the year has a 4% chance. And then this Polymarket odd of by the end of January, which is a little more likely. We have to consider the fact that regardless of whether or not things have gone tits up, these people are taking their bank holiday vacations. So if they had New Year's Eve off, they're going to take it. They're definitely taking New Year's Day. And again, they're just going to, although that I'm sorry, out of office, I'm on vacation. I'm not here. We're not dealing with this right now. And they're just going to, this sounds like a 2026 problem. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're going to leave it as. So this bet probably much safer than them admitting that the bank has failed within the next 2 days. So keep that in mind when you are placing your wager. All right, so I want to talk about a small conspiracy theory, if you will. I understand that Mr. Beast is the #1 YouTuber ever. I understand that he makes a lot of content for kids, and a lot of, like, 11-year-old boys love his content, and that he absolutely, in his own right, is absolutely the biggest. Having said that, I do wonder, with all of these bets, because you can go to Polymarket, I'm just gonna type in Mr. Beast here, and you can gamble on this guy, like I'm pretty sure he has his own section in a lot of, predictive markets. There are let me see, this is not okay. Here, will Mr. Beast hit X billion views by January? Will he hit X million subscribers by December? Will he hit okay. So here's like the subscription one, how many subscribers he had. You can go to a tool called Social Blade and you can take a look at this. He currently has 457 million subscribers. You can go to his live subscriber count, and it will show you all these channel statistics here. And then future projections as well. Here's his projected subscribers by apparently let's just say by October 16th of 2027, he is projected to have over 600 million subscribers on YouTube. So currently, YouTube gains about 30 million new users each month, contributing to its total of over 2.53 billion monthly active users as of 2025. This growth reflects the platform's ongoing popularity and engagement worldwide. Great. But okay, so 30 million new users each month. And then each month, I think if we go to his channel stats here, he has gained 5 million subscribers in the last 30 days. So if we say that YouTube gains 30 million and Mr. Beast alone is gaining 5 million of those, that is obviously an incredibly large portion of people that are making an account and then immediately subscribing to Mr. Beast. Again, I am not saying that he is not the biggest YouTuber ever, because he is. He absolutely is, and I think he's worked hard, and I think he makes good content for kids, and, you know, he's a fairly wholesome dude. Like, that's fine. I am just not sure how legitimate any of these numbers are, and I don't just mean Mr. Beast, I also mean, like, YouTube gaining this many. Like, how many people don't have a YouTube account at this point? I know this is a global number, but really? So he has 3.4 billion views for the last 30 days. This number is crazy, and what a swing. Anywhere between less than 10 million or 150 million in a month or a year, excuse me. All right, I think he's doing much better than that. But otherwise, they talk a lot about how all of these social media platforms, and YouTube is not alone in this, but Instagram in particular, Facebook, whatever, they are not really incentivized to remove a bot activity, because any activity is obviously padding the numbers for like any of these accounts. When you go to like Kim Kardashian's account or J-Lo's account on Instagram. If you go to something that was recently posted, click on the comments and you will see nothing but obvious bot activity. Just like beautiful with a heart face emoji. It's like one word and one emoji typically. And if you just tap on that, you will see how completely fake so much of that engagement actually is. So I think he has absolutely the most true engagement of anybody? I do. I believe that. But do I think it's this much? And do I think there is zero bot activity also helping this out? No. Only because I do know other social media platforms basically refuse to get rid of it because it helps pad the numbers for everybody. It helps everybody look better. So, good for you, Mr. Beast. I'm just wondering what the legitimate number is for everybody across all platforms in general. That's just my 2 cents. Sorry. Okay. So here is speaking of how we had the Christmas holiday over last week. And I just want to talk about this bet because I have seen this from time to time. And I think we need to address an elephant in the room about this here. There is this question of will Jesus Christ return before 2027? This is a Polymarket bet that has over $26,000 in volume right now, and it ends in almost exactly 1 year from now. Number one, I have a few questions. Okay, we're gonna start this. One, when Jesus Christ was born, I understand there was like a lot of communication from angels and other people. And I know King Herod was like very upset about the fact that a king of kings was going to be born. But like, how did we all specifically verify this? Like, was there a scientific explanation? Or like a way that was there a DNA test? Could we see that his chromosomes only came from Mary? There was like no one else. Was that possible? Because about the time somebody starts making the claim, because I know crackheads on the street claim that they are Jesus Christ returneth, but you have a Polymarket bet, and I just want to know, like, if you have voted yes on this and you have risked money, how are you hoping to see your return on investment? How are you hoping we verify this? Also the other thing that it just bothers me endlessly about this is that gambling is a sin. So I think you better hope that the vote is no. I think you better hope the answer's no. Because if he comes back and you're right and you win a shitload of money, aren't you in trouble either way? Like you might have money, but I think Jesus might be pissed that you gambled that he would be coming back. So I don't know. You might just want to like reevaluate here your general moral stance on on a predictive market about Jesus Christ himself. The other thing I don't understand about this bet is like just like why? Like what do you expect that he's going to be interviewed on like CNN and they of all channels are going to believe it's him? Like, how do we verify this? Does it need to be someone who turns water into wine? I would love to see that happen, actually. I think that would be the one thing that if he did it, I'd believe it. I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, for sure." If you hand him a glass and he just like magically like like does something and turns the water into wine, I think I might buy that then. But that might be the only way I believe it. Healing the sick, I don't know. I don't know if I'd buy that the person was sick to begin with. Like, again, we need to really establish some parameters for how this happens here. We have rules. This market will resolve to yes if the second coming of Jesus Christ occurs by December 31st of 2026. Otherwise, this market will resolve to a no. The resolution source for this market will be a consensus of credible sources. Define a credible source. Okay, clearly it's not a crackhead, but I don't know. I just Are you waiting for the angel Gabriel to come tell you that that would be a credible source? That would be fine. I just don't think any of us are gonna buy it. I don't, and I don't I think that was the point of Jesus Christ's existence, right? Was that a lot of people didn't believe him, to be who he said he was until after he had died. I think this bet is cooked. Let's see. So the last thing I really wanted to talk about here is just this general year in prediction markets here. So 1 year ago, I think it's worth discussing that Polymarket and Kalshi were, uh, damn near banned within the US. You had France absolutely banning people because there was one particular guy who bet that Trump would win the election, and I think he won, like, $3 million. And then you had, I think the home of the guy who created Polymarket was raided. It was either him or Kalshi. The FBI raided their home after the election to try to ask if they had some kind of like special insider knowledge to make that happen and bolster the odds. And then finally, after Trump was elected and the person that he nominated the same day that he took office joined the CFTC, they sat down and talked about how the CFTC and just the general government within the United States has been pretty pernicious to the crypto industry and predictive markets in general. So after this happens, obviously it becomes the golden age for predictive markets. And now it's not just two key players like Polymarket or Kalshi, it becomes Crypto.com, Robinhood, DraftKings, FanDuel, Gemini, many of these different gambling-ish company or stock trading crypto companies also incorporate this into their platform. And then you also have the mainstream adoption of Google, CNN, Fox News, all these different major media corporations as well, now incorporating, discussing the predictive market odds within whatever news story they're talking about now, how likely it is the public particularly feels that something is going to happen or not. And now they are projecting that, this is apparently a fact, that prediction markets surged to over $2 billion in weekly volume across all platforms after the CFTC shifted from hostile enforcement to hosting regulatory roundtables. And there is also a projection that by, let's see, by the summer, they were estimating that prediction markets could reach $95.5 billion by 2035 with a compound annual growth rate of almost 50%. So it just does feel at this point like we can't put the genie back in the bottle. It feels like it's not going anywhere. And this is kind of here to stay. The comment I do want to make about this, though, is that although this stemmed originally from the crypto space, this has now crossed the threshold into mainstream adoption. And this is generally what I talk about when I talk about how people are going to find something that they want to use. And this will be what mass adoption looks like. It won't be something that is like your fucking phantom wallet trading a Solana shitcoin. That is very difficult for somebody to understand. But a simple yes-no predictive market and a slight gambling edge turns somebody on enough to say, oh, well, this sounds, this is a brand that is represented by Google. They continue to have this in their search feed. This seems like a reputable thing. So I will sign up and risk my money here. And I think consequently, it turned what we were all hoping for into a reality, which was this, this mass media adoption or this quote unquote mass adoption. Whether or not people realize that Polymarket is a blockchain, like on-chain thing. You can now track what people are up to and how many bets they've placed, what they've gambled on. You can't specifically see who it is, but true to crypto fashion, you can see a history if people are not creating an account again and again to do something. So overall, I hope that this isn't the end of the conversation of this mass adoption for predictive markets, crypto, a crypto product that really like infiltrated the masses. But what I do want to say is that as simple as it seems for the people generally in the crypto space, and then now, they're not pivoting or anything, but they're still wondering like, well, where is everybody, and why aren't you seeing that it's cool to do more with it than just this? I think this is going to take some time because again, I'm sure people use Polymarket, they use call sheet, they don't realize what it is ultimately. But that's what mass adoption is. You don't know how your debit card works, but you use it anyway, and you don't care. You just blindly use it. We live in the world of idiocracy. Nobody cares to question the electrolytes on the plants. And this is kind of the same thing. So just go ahead and keep that in mind. The last fun, well, not necessarily fun bet, but just kind of topical. So we talked last week about this particular bet of who will die in Stranger Things season 5. If you have not caught up, I'm not going to spoil it for you on the dumbest 10 minutes ever, but I'm sure there are a bunch of people who will be happy to talk about that on the internet all day. If you are waiting to watch the very, very end, I think it comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern on New Year's Eve. So consequently, you have this particular bet of who will die in Stranger Things season 5. I don't think I'm spoiling anything by telling you about this particular activity on Polymarket, but if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to just like not listen, because there is a Stranger Things insider found on Polymarket, and they specifically found people creating accounts that were placing very large bets on Elle dying. And they had never bet before. They have not bet anything since. And here's one, dumped $34,000 on Elle dying. So if you are a random person and you don't work on the show and you don't have any idea how it ends, do you wake up one day and decide you're going to create a Polymarket account and risk $34,000? Like you can buy a car for that amount of money. Do you wake up and decide you're going to risk that amount of money on this bet just for shits and gigs? I don't think you do. So I don't know. It says if he's right, he makes 20K. And there's a 85 to 90% chance this is an insider. This is someone who absolutely knows. The crew, the editor, Elle herself, there's a bunch of people who know the answer to this. So this is definitely something to keep in mind. If you are playing this game and you think, for instance, that it might be 8, her friend, that she, I don't want to do any spoilers, or Hopper, I saw a lot of people think it might be Steve, but I don't know. This is interesting because the last time we looked at this bet, Elle was very high, and I don't think 8 had been on the list. But you need to watch the show because I'm not going to like ruin it for you. But according to this insider here, this person is risking an obscene amount of money on this happening. And seeing as they did this 4 days ago, they've probably only lost a little money since. But yeah, that's the great thing about blockchain. You can track all of this. All right, so we are going to wrap this up for today. We are not going to have our usual cooking stream on Wednesdays, but I believe next week we are back in action, everything back to normal. As usual, we are live Mondays and Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern starting next week. We do predictive markets on Monday, and then we do a cooking show on Wednesday. And then we also do like a fun little DeFi review that you can just like watch at your leisure. You can watch all of these at your leisure as well. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it, retweet it, leave a comment. And if you enjoy the clips, same thing. I am Jackie Dutton, and this has been Let Her Cook for BSCN, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.